Takes 2 studios to deal with the ego of Michael Bay.
Okay, and? If you're insinuating that Michael Bay's ego is a bad thing, wouldn't that be a sin for him and not Transformers 2007? Also, DreamWorks is the production company while Paramount is the media conglomerate who released the film. It didn't require 2 studios to make this, let alone because of Michael Bay.
Before time began, there was the cube.
That's not what the Bible says.
Taking the Bible's word for anything.
English, please.
This dude is a racist.
Epps wasn't necessarily being racist here. He was just annoyed that Fig was speaking Spanish because he doesn't understand it, and Fig was going on at length about his culture's cuisine.
Oh God, 5 months of this? Can't wait to get a little taste of home. Plate of mama's alligators etouffee.
You've been talking about barbecue gators and crickets for the last 2 weeks. I'm never going to your mama's house, Fig. I promise.
But
I'm not going to your mama's house.
Gators are known to have the most succulent meat.
I understand.
Con un poquito de arroz con habichuela.
Right.
Y unos tostoncitos por el lado.
English, please.
But even if you want to argue that Epps' demeanor in this scene is rooted in racism, films don't need to conform to the sensitivities of the audience, especially if they want to depict a character who can be seen as flawed for such a reason. Also, if you guys haven't noticed already, these older CinemaSins videos play the ding sound before Jeremy stops talking. It makes it really annoying to sin this video, but you're gonna have to put up with it. So I'm gonna give Jeremy 10 sins on your guys' behalf.
The sun goes down completely between the time this bogey chopper is 5 miles out and when it arrives at the base.
Knowing that this scene is set in Qatar, yes, that's how it's actually pronounced, the movie gets it wrong, sunsets in that region can happen very quickly. Fun fact, the Soxent forward operating base in this movie is loosely based on the real-life Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, which is the largest US military base in the Middle East. I'm bringing this up because it'll add context to a later sin.
The ice is freezing faster than it's melting!
What?
Jeremy doesn't understand this line. No, I'm not going to explain for him.
Bernie Mac is dead, and that sucks.
That's not a sin for the movie. That's a sin for real life for taking Bernie Mac from us too soon. Damn it, real life, you're the reason we couldn't get Zuba to return for Madagascar 3.
I get that Bumblebee is Sam's guardian sent ahead by the Autobots to protect him, but how would he have done that if Sam hadn't just happened to be buying a car at this point in his life?
As we find out in the later movies, Bumblebee had actually been on Earth for decades before Sam was even born. His role as an Autobot scout is why he was chosen to be Sam's guardian for this particular assignment, and he was likely waiting for this moment to happen.
And the only real lead we have so far is this sound.
That base had no cameras, and how does the military not have a satellite pointed at this super important base they can go pull images from?
Blackout had jammed the radar systems at the Soxent base, so it's not a big stretch to assume that he disrupted and or destroyed the cameras at the base too, along with killing all witnesses to the attack except for Lennox and his friends. Furthermore, we find out in Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon that Soundwave had been around Earth for a long time and can take a satellite mode that can hack into other satellites. So it's possible that he created any additional blind spots in the US government surveillance.
Dealing with a very effective weapon system that we have not come across before.
The US government would never reveal this kind of information to the public.
Dude, an entire military base was just obliterated. And if Soxent was as big and important to the US as Al Udeid, that means the casualties would have included around 10 to 11,000 American servicemen whose families would be devastated to learn that they would not be coming home. They have a right to know whether or not the US is prepared to go through with a retaliation, especially when the enemy managed to get the drop on US forces so easily in the first place. Just take America's reaction to the Pearl Harbor attack as an example. The immediate aftermath of 9/11 similarly posed such a question.
I got no communication with Ariel.
Well, Ariel is probably busy. Have you tried Merman?
Jeremy makes an unwarranted reference to popular culture cliché. Side note, funnily enough, there is an Ariel in Transformers. In the Generation 1 series, Ariel was the name of Alita 1 prior to being rebuilt by Alpha Trion, and her existence predates the Disney character by 4 years. But because she's so popular, a toy release from a few years ago had to rename the Transformers character to Uriel. So fuck Disney for stealing the name and forcing everyone to abide by their lawyers.
When Bumblebee transforms into a robot, what happens to the Biatch air freshener?
That's not a sin, that's a question, and you sinning the movie for your own question implies that you don't think that there's an answer to it. So what if I told you there is? Would that invalidate the sin? Anyway, the air freshener most likely goes wherever the interior leather seats go as well. It's well established in other continuities that items like these can be warped away to an extra-dimensional storage area like Hammerspace whenever these robots transform, and can be called back to replicate an authentic version of the vehicle they scanned. This is the same explanation for where Optimus Prime's trailer goes whenever he transforms in the Generation 1 cartoon, which makes it a sin that he didn't have his trailer in these movies until Dark of the Moon.
No sins found in this scene.
Padding the length of this video by agreeing with the objectification of Megan Fox. Besides, in my opinion,
She's not so hot.
The stereo gets on Air Force One how again?
Jeremy asks this question as if he's unaware that Transformers are supposed to be robots in disguise, especially when Decepticons use their alternate modes to take advantage of humans. But if you really need it spelled out to you, Frenzy took the place of this guy's stereo before he brought it onto Air Force One. We see him do this later with Michaela's cell phone.
Also, if this f***ing robot is trying to sneak down into the cargo area to hack the network, but is able to sneak into the plane's main cabin before it takes off, why didn't he just go ahead and go on down to the cargo area in the first place?
As I just explained, Frenzy assumed the form of a stereo as it was the most clandestine way to get onto Air Force One. As such, he wasn't in control of the fact that the agent who brought him on board wasn't going to put him in the cargo area, which, why would he? But this doesn't appear to be a big problem for Frenzy, as he is found by a flight attendant who does take him down there while on her way.
So wait, the best way for the Decepticons to find out about Project Iceman was to sneak aboard Air Force One and hack its computers?
Well, Blackout did try extracting the data from the US government servers in Qatar, but the hardlines were severed before he could gather much information. This is Frenzy's attempt to follow up on what little data they did get, and in his case, also didn't get much before the hardlines were again severed.
The only countries with this kind of capability are Russia, North Korea, maybe China.
Okay, so now according to this movie, North Korea is as much of a threat as Russia or China when it comes to hacking.
Yeah.
So far, the Decepticons have had reasons for showing up in certain places, but this Scorpion shows up for pretty much no reason at all, except that there hasn't been a good action scene since the beginning of the movie.
No. You either weren't paying attention or purposefully withheld relevant information. Blackout had deployed Scorponok to hunt down Lennox's team, who had survived the base attack with photographic proof of their existence. You even showed Scorponok's POV during that Cinemabout aerial.
These highly trained soldiers are blind as
Another scene manipulation.
There's only one hacker in the world who can break this code.
No, let's not inform the government there might be one person who can hack the code. Let's just put it on this possibly traceable disk and sneak out to go find the guy.
The hacker that Maggie is referring to is an otherwise normal guy who doesn't have the security clearance that these data analysts have. Why would the US government entrust this code to a civilian who may or may not know what he's doing? Especially when this code poses a risk to national security.
Also, the really super impossible to break code fits on a 2 GB memory card?
Yes.
Why does Bumblebee do nothing and wait while Sam gets terrorized by the cop robot instead of rescuing him right away?
Sam was trying to get away from Bumblebee since at this point, he doesn't know that he was sent to protect him. Sam led Bumblebee into this shady area under an overpass to lose him, which led Bumblebee to exit and circle back around just as Barricade was arriving.
Daytime to nighttime in mere seconds, for the second time in the movie.
Or this may have happened over many minutes to an hour and we were only shown bits and pieces of it? Jeremy yet again misunderstands movie time.
So Bumblebee f***ed up this police car robot, but we were stuck watching Comedy Relief Robot get his ass kicked by Sam.
I mean, did we need to see it? I'm not denying it would have been cool, but this is only the first live-action Transformers movie. We should be glad that we got the action that we did before we were spoiled with it to the point that it took away too many resources and downgraded the CGI quality in the later installments.
I don't understand the talk through the radio thing. I mean, is he finding all these clips on actual radio stations live? Because what station is playing John Wayne quotes? And if he's able to just use any old clip, then why is it so much harder apparently for him to just speak like a regular robot?
No, they were recorded and stored in his memory banks. And if you want to count Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast as canon to this movie, it's shown and explained how he gets these voice samples. As we're also shown in Bumblebee, he can't talk like the rest of the Transformers because he got his vocal processor ripped out during battle, which Ratchet even mentions later.
The Autobots decide to crash land on Earth in the most asshole way possible.
I guess the meteor that caused the extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs must have been an asshole too. But if it wasn't, our small mammal ancestors wouldn't have had the minimal competition that led to the eventual evolution of our species. The one that these Autobots are here to save. So yeah, asshole meteors can be a good thing.
So all the Autobots just chose to be the first car they saw? The only reason Optimus Prime is a semi is because one just happened to drive by?
What better options did they have at the time? They already drew a lot of attention just by landing here, so they had to find a form before they could be seen by humans.
As far as I'm concerned, Optimus Prime's lips can go suck on the Batsuit nipples.
Jeremy makes an unwarranted reference to
His vocal processors were damaged in battle. I'm still working on them.
So these alien robots can transform into any shape they want, but they can't fix a f***ing vocal processor?
Two things. First, this answers your earlier sin about why Bumblebee can't speak like a regular Cybertronian, so you had to have been feigning ignorance then. Second, vocal processors are Cybertronian biomechanisms, so they can't be replaced like car parts even though these robots turn into cars. Them getting a vocal processor replaced would be like us getting a kidney transplant.
How the f*** does Optimus Prime know about any of these events?
As already touched on a few times, Cybertronians had been visiting Earth and interacting with humanity long before this film takes place. Thousands of years, actually. In The Last Night, we find out about a secret society called the Witwickens who worked in collaboration with Cybertronians to keep their existence on Earth a secret. Sam's family took their name from this society, and Archibald was one of their members. Meaning he likely already knew that there was a Cybertronian frozen in the Arctic, and his discovery of Megatron was no accident.
Anthony Anderson starts eating the plate of donuts at 10:45 and finishes the plate at 10:45.
Just like I said in the live-action Lilo and Stitch video, maybe the clock is broken. I mean, when I was in grade school, there were many wall clocks that would often malfunction, and the school took their sweet time before they gave a shit to fix them.
Awesome magnet weapon only impacts guns and no other metal things like cufflinks, watches, badges, cars, or other transformers.
While Jazz's magnet is pretty strong, it's not enough to have any immediate effect on these multi-ton cars and other transformers. Also, cufflinks, watches, and badges can be made out of metals that aren't ferromagnetic, and therefore they shouldn't be susceptible to Jazz's magnet.
But I've seen goodness in them.
Man, Optimus Prime is really optimistic about humans after learning about us on the World Wide Web. You must have stayed away from the YouTube comments.
Because, like sensible people, Optimus Prime doesn't take anything for truth just because it's posted on the internet.
Do not believe everything you read.
And even if you don't want to take into consideration the later films as retcons involving his prior interactions with humans, he's seen from Sam and Michaela just in this movie that they are worth saving.
Wants to use the Q to transform human technology to take over the universe.
This plan is bullshit, and Megatron landed thousands of years ago. What technology was he going to use from back then?
That wasn't Megatron's goal when he set out to find the Allspark. It's just a convenience now that humans have electromechanical machines that he can use to build an army. Even without machines, he could just use the natural metals found within the Earth, like the leftover transformium from when the creators cyberformed Earth, as we find out about in Age of Extinction.
President Hoover had the dam built around it to hide its energy.
And also control floods, provide irrigation water, and produce hydroelectric power using the Colorado River.
Which was precisely to throw off the public. By being an actual hydroelectric dam, it provides all the benefits that you listed while hiding the ulterior purpose for which it was built.
Did Starscream have to wait for takeoff clearance from the tower? Because I don't think they just let fighter jets take off without having some idea who's flying it and where it's going.
Oh, like a Decepticon who hates humans is going to obey whether or not he has takeoff clearance from humans. Also, why did you spell Starscream's name as two separate words?
Wouldn't it be smarter if one or even all of the Autobots chose this important moment to turn into a plane or a helicopter instead of the same first car they saw after arriving on Earth? They even say we're autonomous robots, Autobots for short, meaning the auto in their name has nothing to do with the fact that they turn into cars.
These particular Autobots don't have multiple alternate modes like triple changers, so they can't assume the form of a flying vehicle in addition to the ground-based ones they are iconic for. Furthermore, Cybertronians typically can't turn into Earth vehicles that can fly unless they had a flying alternate mode as their natural one on Cybertron. Though some like Megatron and Soundwave in these movies are exceptions, as they have switched between ground and flying vehicles from both Earth and Cybertron on multiple occasions.
Autobots learned English by studying the World Wide Web. Megatron learned English from being stuck in ice for thousands of years.
Megatron was at least partially conscious during his thousands of years of being frozen, so maybe he learned English from the humans who were studying him. What the fuck happened with the counter for these next few sins? It jumps from 68 to 70, and then down to 69, nice, and then to 71.
I leave my guys back there.
Yes, let's put the fate of the entire world in the hands of a horny, awkward teenager because you can't leave your men alone without you.
All Sam has to do is take the Allspark to the top of a building. Do you really think Lennox is going to make one of his men do that instead when they're more valuable at holding off the Decepticons? Marginally so, but still better than nothing, and they keep getting better in later films. Also, you should have put a comma between horny and awkward here.
Why does the Allspark only create evil Transformers and not good ones?
According to screenwriter Roberto Orsi, the Allspark only made Decepticons out of human technology because it was created through reverse engineering Megatron. This is backed up by a line from Simmons earlier.
Fact is, you're looking at the source of the modern age. Microchip, lasers, spaceflight, cars, all reverse engineered by studying him.
Also, another grammatical error, you added an unnecessary hyphen to Allspark here.
After 20 minutes of giant alien robots fighting in the street, how are there any pedestrians left to be running away when Optimus and Megatron fall?
To bring up 9/11 again, there were still pedestrians in the surrounding city blocks who either hadn't or were still being evacuated when the towers fell, and that event lasted far longer than 20 minutes.
The Laurentian Abyss is 7 miles below sea level, deepest place on our planet.
No. That's not any more scientifically accurate than saying there's no gravity in space.
You're one to talk.
Are you username?
CinemaSins.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you username?
CinemaSins.